This is the House Orange Sports Channel. Once again, Frank Rock. We're covering Tennessee baseball, basketball, football, Lady Vols basketball, Lady Vols softball. So we're going to talk some Tennessee basketball today. Transfer portal. There's still some, there's still some real fluid stuff that's out there. As we currently sit, Tennessee has one roster spot open still for next season. That could change based on the House settlement when it comes out, because it is widely expected that the roster limits will go to 15. And then there's the case of course, Zakai Ziegler. And I'm still kind of surprised Jordan Gainey has not filed a lawsuit yet, but maybe he's just waiting on the ruling to go through altogether. But was reported, I think it was actually reported yesterday, maybe it's come out a little bit today, that Jeff Goodman has, I think he's with On3. He has, let me check who co-founder Phil was 68. Okay, Jeff Goodman. So Jeff Goodman put out, he said that Tennessee has made contact with Desmond Claude, former Xavier and former USC basketball player. So Claude would be a senior this coming season. Joe Tipton of On3 put it out on VolQuest, and Grant Ramey of VolQuest had an article on it as well. But, what we're looking at is basically right now, Tennessee has made contact. All right. That's kind of where we're at right now. How much is NIL going to be a part of that? That's going to be the big part of it, because Tipton did say that Claude had some offers, $2 to $3 million on the table. So if that's the case, this may not be too serious. But one thing about it that I saw as well was Alabama was believed to be a suitor. Well, one of their players is returning, so that takes Alabama out of it. Now, with Tennessee, again, Tipton said he's received several offers of $2 to $3 million. Tipton even said, I don't think the Vols have that much to spend, but can always ask donors for more, I guess. If that's the case, Tennessee's not going to spend on it. Now, here's my thing with it as well. So they're saying that Tennessee and Oregon have both reached out on Claude. So he's been in the portal for a bit. Pretty good player, too. So there's a reason he's still in the portal. And I don't mean by any means of the character or anything. It's probably something with money right now. But it said Alabama and Gonzaga have also offered. It says SMU is also in the mix as well. In the case of Desmond Claude, so last year he averaged 15.8 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 48.2 field goal percentage. Here's the thing to me on it, and based on where Tennessee's look, he is a career, I said, 28% three-point shooter. Last year was a career high of 30.7%. That's really kind of not lined up with where Tennessee's going. Now, good ball player, yes. He was top 100 coming out of high school in 2022. But where would he fit at? Is he more, are they banking? And again, it's just contact. It doesn't mean Tennessee goes anywhere else with this one. But they're at least exploring the option on it. And, what would he add to the equation? A guy who can get to the hoop, a guy who can score at all levels, even though the three-point shooting's gotten better, because it was only 23% the year before, so he went up 7%. That is progress. Could he make another 7% increase? That would be pretty huge if so. But it's a guy, again, I think through Tennessee, you've got that one option open. You've got to explore it, because I think they could still use some guard help. Now, if this ruling gets passed, that goes through, then there's a pretty good opportunity. You're going to add Ziegler. You're going to add Gainey. And a part of me wonders, too, on this. And, I know there'll be some mixed reaction on this, but last weekend in the Super Regionals for the Lady Vols, in the stands were J.P. Estrella, Nate Ament, and Igor Milicic Jr. So Igor Milicic is still hanging around Knoxville as well. If you've got three spots to give here, could Igor, if they get that fifth year, could he say, hey, I want to come back too? And you add all three of those guys to the equation. That's just me throwing it out there just because he's still in Knoxville. hanging out. So I wonder, what he's looking at for his prospects as well. If the ruling gets, put in and you add those three, this team is going to have the most depth that they've had during the Rick Barnes era. It's not even close on it. You would have, they will make it work with Gillespie and Zakai Ziegler. And what I've read too, Rob Lewis and Grant Ramey of AllQuest.com have both said it, that Tennessee, when they recruited Gillespie, talked about the possibility of Ziegler and Gainey. And that's the way I read it. I'm not saying that's quote for quote what they said, but that's the way I read it. They said that Tennessee was upfront about that with them. So you would have Gillespie, you'd have Ziegler, you'd have Gainey, you add Amari Abram to the fold, who I thought was a sneaky good pickup, guy who can shoot, who's not afraid to go to the basket, has that SEC experience. He's played at a few schools, but still had that experience. He didn't leave because he wasn't cutting, and that's when Kermit Davis got let go at Ole Miss. So he tested the portal, went to Georgia Tech, and then, I can't remember off the top of my head where it was he played last year now, but it may come to me, it may not. But anyhow, you add Carey from Vanderbilt, who was that bruiser type who can get to the basket, who can do his thing, and they've not had that since Grant Williams. They really haven't. Now you've got, of course, Field Para coming back. Hopefully JP Estrella is back and ready to go. What steps does Cade Phillips take? How much does Bishop Boswell take? Those are going to be key. And then, of course, you add Nate Ament, who's a day one starter based on what they've invested in him. They didn't invest in him to come in and set the bench. He's coming in to be a day one starter. Rick Barnes spoke highly of him. The new assistant coach that Tennessee's added. Gosh, guys, there's a lot in this right now. Let's see if I can find. I have to find it later. But anyhow, Tennessee's new assistant talked about him as well. Had said that he had tried to recruit Ament at his previous stop. And Steve McLean, that's it, Steve McLean. Steve McLean talked yesterday. They had him and Amaro Morgan, who's come from Florida State. They had them talk to the media. And McLean talked about Ament, spoke really highly of him. He wanted to recruit him, but said fortunately it worked out. And he said one thing that stood out to him about Ament was just high character, high work ethic. And so you add that to the fold. Now, you look at Amari Evans, you add Dwayne Brown, you add Troy Henderson. It'll be interesting to see what happens. That last spot. Now, obviously, if this stuff doesn't pass, you've got one spot you could keep. Do you pursue a little bit more a Desmond Claude? Do you find somebody else maybe to take that spot? Or if the House settlement does go through, apparently Zakai Ziegler's hearing is on June the 6th. So if that one gets approved, things are going to take off at that point. It's really going to take off. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens with it. So right now, Tennessee's exploring options. But to me, there's still a lot of unknown until this settlement gets passed and we know everything that's going on in it. It's still really hard to tell where it's at. Tennessee could go anywhere from adding Ziegler and Gainey, which I definitely think those two. But again, Milicic is me wondering on my part. And I'll tell you, another year in it, I would take him back. I would take him and add to it. And because, a second year in the system, he could make some improvements on it. Again, that's me speculating. Maybe Milicic has no desire to come back. But the fact that he's still hanging around Knoxville as well, I thought was pretty interesting, actually. Any more updates or anything with Claude, we'll see if it goes any further. If it goes any further, they start setting up visits, then you'll know Tennessee's starting to get serious about this one. But until we hear visits set up, right now I would consider it in the preliminary stages on it. And, they're just doing their due diligence, basically. Like I said, I'll keep you posted, anything that we come across there along the way. Like, share, subscribe, 4,008 subs. Right now, let's keep this thing going. Let's get to 4,100. Let's get that rolling here as well. Check out the links in the description, channel membership, channel Patreon. If you want to say thanks, bottom right corner, super thanks. greatly appreciated as well. Have a great rest of your Thursday coming up. I did a Lady Vols softball portal video earlier. It's probably bad timing when I put it out on it at the first of the game. Once this Lady Vols softball game is over, they're leading 3-1 going into the 7th. Right now, I will have I'm going to do a post-game wrap-up video as well. So hopefully they can hold on, move on to the second round to play. I think it was Texas. Texas beat Florida. No, Florida beat Texas earlier on, if I'm not mistaken. So, but anywho, we'll look at that later on. And no, Texas beat Florida. Okay, I just need to quit while I'm ahead right now. Texas did beat Florida, but I'll have a video on that as well. I'm gonna do a Tennessee bait. It's gonna be a busy night on here. All right, so just stay tuned on there. Have a great rest of your evening. This is Frank. This is the House of Orange, and I'll see you when I see you.